What's going on, y'all? You already know what it is. My name is Trevor Stone. This is the Infinite Reps podcast. Okay, this is the first episode. Follow me on IG at KillerTrev12. That's KILLATREV12. Follow me on KillerTrev12. Since this is the first episode, I feel compelled to do an introduction. So again, the name of this podcast is called the Infinite Reps Podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to provide an online forum to discuss different concepts such as personal growth. This is just what the scope of the podcast will be. This is what the scope will be, but it's not going to be limited to personal growth, business. What else we want to deal with? We want to deal with entrepreneurship, direct sales, health, and general fitness of the mind. Okay. This is the first book we're going to discuss right here. We're going to get into it in a sec, but this is basically going to be an online book club. We want to make this a discussion. We want to have some dialogue, and I feel compelled to do something like this just to kind of combat the narrative that we see out today. Most of a lot of what we deal with is negativity. That's what draws our attention. So anything I say on here, it didn't come from me. I'm mostly going to be quoting different books, different scholars, and just providing a place to discuss different concepts. So we'll be having book suggestions and everything like that. But I want to get into what Infinite Reps means. First of all, first and foremost, this is the Infinite Reps podcast. Infinite Reps, that's something I'm claiming. Don't steal the cloth. This has to do with the infinite expansion of the mind, the capability of the mind to expand. Again, we're dealing with the general fitness of the mind. It has to do with the ability to learn new skills, basically, right? If you want to keep it really, really simple, right? So Infinite Reps, it's a solution. This is an algorithm, right? This is an algorithm I apply to my life. What's the definition of an algorithm, okay? Because what we're not going to deal with in Infinite Reps, we're not going to deal with the gossip, right? I don't care what R. Kelly's doing. I don't care what Soulja Boy said. We're going to deal with timeless information. We're going to deal with applicable information, and just know that if anything you hear me say, all right, I didn't come up with it. There's probably somebody else's podcast you can go listen to. They might say some of the same stuff, but unless you apply it to your life, it's not going to help you anyway. So we'll be having these discussions, right, so that we can become aware of these different concepts that we need to grow, right? And again, we're going to focus a lot on sales. We're going to focus a lot on business, entrepreneurship in that field, right? But again, we're going to expand, right? Everything is a tool, right? So again, Infinite Reps is a solution. What is the definition of an algorithm? It is a process to be followed in problem-solving operations, right? So we're into algorithms, we're into solutions to make our lives better, right? The reason that we struggle with new skills is because we have a lot of limiting beliefs, right? And in this book, this is the first book we're going to discuss. It's called Total Self-Confidence, okay? I picked this up. This is basically going to be my 2019 Bible. This is why I'm starting off with this book. But I want to start off with this concept of limiting beliefs because it's foundational for pretty much anything I'm going to discuss on here anyway. It stifles growth, any limiting belief that you have, right? And again, like I said before, I think we struggle to learn new skills because of our limiting beliefs, right? So on page 33, right, Dr. Robert Anthony, it reads, he says, there are three major causes to low self-esteem, okay? The first is a series of self-defeating concepts, beliefs, and values that you have accepted from your parents, okay? So the first one, self-defeating concepts that you have accepted from your parents, okay? I didn't say it, right? The doctor said it. The guy with the doctor in front of his name said it, okay? The second is a unique set of put-downs that were received throughout your school years, okay? From false concepts and distorted concepts from your teachers, such as things like vocational placement tests and IQ tests, right? So the second place, right, These are the 3 major causes of low self-esteem. Okay, bear with me. So the second place we get our limiting beliefs from, according to Dr. Anthony, is school, right? The third place, he says, okay, it stems from negative religious conditioning with its overemphasis on feelings of guilt and unworthiness, okay? Now, he says the third one is religious conditioning, okay? Now, when I read that, okay, these are the 3, okay? Now, when I read that, I was kind of thinking like, well, you know, I personally don't attend church, right? I know there's a lot of people that do, but I think millennials in general, they're a little less religious these days, right? And so I looked, I was like, oh, when was this book published? It was published in 1979, okay? So these concepts, like I said, these concepts are timeless. So this is why we want to get into books, we want to get into reading, we want to get into the expansion of the mind, because these concepts are timeless. It was written in 1979, but again, like I said, it's 2019, and this is my Bible for the year, right? So what I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, you know, it was 1979, right? What I would replace religion with is just social media, right? I would say these are kind of the 3. You can tell me if you agree or not, right? Down in the comments, comment below. If you agree, right? According to the expert, 1 and 2, definitely, right? We definitely get our self-defeating concepts from our parents. You can get deeper into the book, right? But he says these are the top 3. He says 1, parents, 2, school, right? The third one, he says religion, but we're going to edit that just to say social media, right? And just think about the different, you know, self-defeating concepts that you pick up just from comparing yourself to others, right? That can be really taxing. So when we think about, right, the solution to these problems, the first thing that we want to do is become aware that they exist, right? We can talk about like you know, good different techniques that you can get into, like a book you can read, but you know, or like a meditation you can do, breathing exercises to make your life better. And these things will make your life better. But the first thing that we have to do, maybe not the first thing, but at some point, we're going to have to deal with our limiting beliefs and our self-defeating concepts, right? Because at the end of the day, if you let those things linger, eventually they're going to catch up to you. So you do have to deal with them at some point. So one of the limiting beliefs I had, right, when I first started off my direct sales career, when I first started selling, right, I was doing door-to-door sales. My first year, I was down in the DMV area, okay, Washington D.C., you know, Chocolate City, right, down in PG County, right. So I'm knocking doors, right, and it's mostly black people, right. So I get used to talking to black people, right, and it got to the point where, like, if I knocked on the door and a white person answered, I would be like a little taken aback, like, oh, and I would try to switch up my pitch, I would try to switch up my flow, and it just wouldn't work out. And the pretty much the agreement, because it wasn't only just me, it was even my white coworkers, right? It was like, oh my gosh, white people don't buy, right? It sucks every time a white, like, they're not nice, right? They want to ask a lot of questions. The same thing went for Asians and Indians. Like, nobody likes to sell like these certain demographics, right? This is a limiting belief I had on my mind. And just to reverse a little bit, go back a little bit. Like I said before, we struggle to learn new skills largely because of our limiting beliefs. And as a black person, a limiting belief that I definitely am dealing with today is you know, racism. And like, today you can't even walk down the street, everybody's racist, everybody's out to get you, everything is so bad. It's an excuse at the end of the day. And the way it manifested in my life was, you know, I agreed that, oh, okay, yeah, you can't sell white people, and I wasn't having any success. But then I got hungry enough, literally, where I was working my ass off, and my very, very first sale was to a white guy. Get that, right? So, and I've sold Asians before. I've sold Indians. I'm not saying it's not hard, or it's hard to sell anybody a product, right? But if you just go into it saying automatically I'm expecting to lose, one, you're probably gonna lose, but the reason that you go in expecting to lose is probably based on a limiting belief that you have, right? It's probably based on maybe something that your parents told you, right? It's probably something that they told you in school, right? It's probably something, it probably stems from, right, something from social media, right? All the comparison and whatever goes on, right? Or what they try to feed you, even in the entertainment industry. We can say social media, we could put entertainment in there, subconscious programming, right? So we'll deal with the subconscious, we'll deal with positive affirmations, right? And all the feel good material, because that stuff does work, but it only works, right, to the degree that you can deal with again, the stuff that uniquely affects you. I don't care if you're white, black, Asian, I don't care if you're an alien, right? It's stuff that uniquely affects you, right? And these are your limiting beliefs, and according to Dr. Robert Anthony, they stem from your parents, schooling, and your religion. But we're going to update that and say social, right? Now, one of the things my manager used to always tell me, or one of the things he would say all the time, was that the only limitation in your life is your attitude and your mindset. Okay? That's that's another feel-good quote, right? Take that, like Diddy, take that, right? But what we want to do is, right, and this is why I started off with this concept, the self-defeating concepts, because you did it to yourself, right? It's like Bird Box, they see the light, they kill themselves, right? Nobody did it to you, you did it to yourself. So first we're going to see what we are doing to ourselves, and what you want to do is just start to identify your limiting beliefs. Okay, be aware of the different feelings that you feel when you think about, for example, your goals. Right, that way you can identify these limiting beliefs, and then you can replace them with good things. Right, because they're taking up space. You can only fill the cup up so much. Right, you gotta completely empty out the cup. You gotta destroy the building. You gotta raise the structure and then build it new. You gotta get rid of the negative and replace it with something positive, right? So one of the things we can do, right? Let me put on some tunes. So in order to identify these limiting beliefs, a little exercise we can do. This is just a little challenge, right? Write down a list of your goals, right? We are January 17th, right? 2019, month one. We're still in month one, right? Write down your goals, right? Take some time, write down your goals. It's not too late. We're still in month one. You can still get your goals, right? So write a list of your goals, and when you look them over, right, you have to write them down on paper. You have to actually physically do it, not on your phone, right? Write it down on paper, right? Or don't. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter to me. But take note of some of the negative feelings that you feel, when you think about your goals, right? Ask yourself, how are you going to accomplish them, right? Ask yourself, right, do you think it's going to be easy? And just take note of, as you look at your different, is this one going to be easy? Is this one, how am I going to do it? Just take a quick note of some of the negative, maybe thoughts or limiting beliefs that may come to your mind. You might not have any, right? But then dig deeper, right? Ask yourself, how long will it take you to get started on your goals? Oh, what's holding me back, right? Kind of think, oh, I don't have enough money, whatever, right? Write it down. Just jot it, like brainstorm, okay? Then ask yourself, have you ever shared some of these goals with your family? Think about what your family has said. I'm sure you have if you have a good list of 10 goals, I'm sure you told somebody. Actually, think back and think, oh, what has my family said about some of these goals, right? If you did, maybe you have some goals that are secret, right? if you did share these goals, ask yourself, what do you think your parents would say, right? You don't have to actually ask them, but you can think of what they might say, right? If it's something negative, if you think they would say something negative, jot that down. That's in your mind. That came from your mind. They didn't actually say it. That came from your mind. Jot that down. What will my teachers say, right? What do you think they'll say behind your back on social media? What do you think they're gonna say on Instagram, right? Jot these feelings down and take note of them, right? Once you kind of have an idea, right? Once you're aware, in this book he talks a lot about awareness. This is only one page, right? But once you're aware of the three major causes of your low self-esteem, once you understand it's a series of self-defeating concepts, beliefs, values that you've accepted from your parents, once you understand that it's a unique set of put downs that you receive from your school years, right? With placement tests and IQ tests, and right. Once you understand, once you become aware, right? I'm sure you're aware of all the negativity, right? That you get from entertainment industry, which is, tied in with social. It's so intricately tied with social media. Is one and the same, right? It's like social media is entertainment and negativity sells, right? So understand what you got to be the guardian of your brain. We're going to go in first and we're going to identify these limiting beliefs, and then we can work on replacing them with different things. But again, this is the foundation of the podcast, right? So if you guys enjoyed what you heard, put some beats back on. Go follow me on IG, Trev12. We're also gonna do a lot of different books. We'll pick this book up again, right? This is something very small from this book, but we'll definitely pick this book up again. Again, this is what I'm reading every single day, 2019. So we want more recommendations. So email me, right? Email at infinitereps@gmail.com. Okay, that's the email. Email book recommendations. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about. Especially, I wanna know if you guys think this replacement is valid for religion. Maybe you think religion should go back there, right? But I just thought that it was a little outdated. This book was written in 1979, but that caught my attention, so I looked. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. We can update that I think. But let me know if you guys agree with that or not. Okay. Again, IG, we at Trev12. Follow that. Right. And I want to end on some gas. Let me what's something I can say, right? What's something I can say that's